I call it hell, the wheel of life spinning round and round on the mold of ambition. It is this fever of ambition that has made life poisonous. The most serious diseases and mental troubles that man has ever known are nothing compared to the great disease of ambition, because the mind, caught in the storm of ambition and distracted, has no intention of attaining peace, music, and joy. Such a man is not at home within himself. Peace, music, and joy are the reward of being at home within himself. A man who is not at home within himself is a sick man. Men are healthy only when they are in that inner home. A young girl asked me, "What is the root cause of this ambition?" I replied, "A feeling of inferiority and poverty." Of course, inferiority and ambition appear to be opposites. But are they really opposites? No, they are not opposites. But they are two ends of the same feeling. At one end is the feeling of inferiority, and at the other end is ambition. Inferiority. Ambition is inferiority dressed in colorful clothes. It is an ambition to free itself from itself. Even if it is dressed in expensive clothes, it does not disappear. It may be invisible to the eyes of others, but what is inside it is constantly watching it. A man who is dressed does not appear naked to the eyes of others, but in his own eyes he is naked. For this reason, even if the achievements of the ambitious person are frowned upon by others, they grieve within themselves and continue to plan for a great victory. The inferiority complex within them is not destroyed by victory. The truth is that every new victory becomes a new challenge for them, and again for the next victory. Thus, what they think of as a victory that can be solved turns out to be an omen of future problems. And if a problem in life is handled incorrectly, it turns out to be a mistake. It becomes a bigger problem for the sake of the problem. The important thing to remember is that you cannot hide a disease and escape from it. Diseases do not go away in this way. They become even more intense. In the rush to cover up the inferiority complex that causes trouble, the mind grows ambitious and forgets inferiority. In the spirit of ambition, it is easy to forget oneself. Then, whether the ambition is worldly or supernatural or salvation, there is no difference. Ambition is intoxicating. In its intoxication, it has the quality of forgetting even the deepest self. But once a man gets used to this intoxication or the amount of it he takes, he does not get intoxicated easily. Then the brain needs more and more drugs. And new drugs and ambitions increase. They have no end. They have a beginning, but no end. When a man is tired of worldly ambitions, or when his death is approaching, ambitions called religiousness begin. All these are also illusions, and the fact is, they can bring even more intoxication. For, when the religious goal is achieved, ambitions are not easy to recognize, and the fear of falling is then less. As long as a man tries to separate himself from his true nature, he suffers from the fever of ambition in one way or another. In his attempt to separate himself from his true personality, he tries to hide it and forget it. But is it one thing to try to hide his true nature, to escape from it? Are forgetting and giving it up the same thing? No. Having inferiority complex and pretending not to have it is not the same thing. Therefore, it is an unwise response because even if you get treatment, the disease will still grow. Every victory that the ambitious brain achieves is self-destructive because it is like pouring oil on the fire of ambition. The victory is achieved, but the inferiority complex does not shrink. Therefore, great success is needed and it is inevitable. Basically, it is equivalent to increasing your inferiority complex. The history of the human race, such a disease. It is full of minds. What else did Tamerlane, Alexander, and Hitler do? And listening to this criticism, please do not laugh, because it is not polite to laugh at the sick. There is another reason for not laughing. That is, the germs of their disease are in all of us. We are their heirs, not only individuals, but the whole human race has been infected with the disease of ambition. That is why this terrible great disease escapes our notice. In my opinion, the indispensable characteristic of good mental health is a life without ambition. Ambition is a disease. Diseases are always the companions of death. Therefore, it is destructive, full of violence. It is hatred born of a diseased mind. It is envy, and it is the worst struggle between man and man. It is war. Ambition to be realized is also destructive. It is violence against oneself. It is an enemy against itself. Worldly ambition is violence against others. Enlightenment ambition is violence against one's own self. Wherever there is ambition, there is violence. Whether it is internal or external, that is a different matter. Violence, in whatever state, in whatever form, is always destructive. That is why only a cool and healthy mind can be creative. A healthy mind is centered within the soul. There is no pressure to be different from what one is. In trying to be something else, a person cannot know himself. And not knowing himself is the fundamental weakness from which all vices are essentially derived. Without knowing oneself, there is no liberation from this weakness. Not by aspiring to it, but by knowing oneself, we can be liberated from this desire. And for that to happen, ambition must be uprooted from the mind itself.